Hello, hi, can everybody hear me? Loud and clear? Thank you so much for coming to this session today. And I think this is the first of our kind for Thailand, with two research that will be shared to the industry for telecommunications as well as consumer electronics insights. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you've already had your lunch. For those who had a heavy lunch, I hope I don't bore you, because usually after lunch everybody tends to doze off. And if you do, I can see you from here. So thank you so much, and without further ado, I will start. And the agenda for today, I will be covering digital universe, because that's where we want to see how large the global communication online as well as internet is. And we will deep dive into Thailand specific, because that's what is specific and relevant to you for here. And I'll cover two research, which is commissioned by Google, actually this year, Q1 and Q2. And I'll be sharing telecommunications as well as consumer insights. So let's look at digital universe. As I speak, every 2 seconds, there will be already 2 million emails sent. And with regards to social media network, which is, I believe, almost everyone here has a login account. Who has a login account with a social networking site? Please hands up. Excellent. So there's a few of you who don't have. So whoever don't have, I will probably Facebook you and make sure that you are there. Right, in terms of video consumption, it is very, very huge. We have about 20 hours of video uploaded onto YouTube, and this was May 2009 data. Huge media consumption for YouTube there. In terms of searches, there's a lot of people seeking information, about 2.7 billion every day. That's a huge amount. But let's look closer to home, Asia Pacific. Today, with China, with India, we already have 56% of the global population in our region here. And looking at internet population, we're already 41%. That's close to half. And with regards to that, 17% internet penetration, and that is continuously growing. And at a very strong rate, because today we all have seen communication, video consumption, social networking, getting connected with friends overseas, everything used online. But what about Thailand? Thailand, based on your government statistics, more than 21% are already with internet connection. And what is the hours spent? That's a lot, including work and personal, close to 34 hours a week. So what does that amount to? Let's look at the media consumption of Thailand today, in this year. More than 5.6 hours spent online per day. And the most in terms of per week, 6.2 days, as compared to traditional media, TV, radio, print. So online is the source where a lot of people find information, connect with others through email, probably for entertainment on YouTube and other video websites. So online is where people spend a lot of time. So let's look at then breaking down. In terms of our share here in Thailand specifically, this is July 09 figures. Google has 98% share in search specifically. We're not a portal like Yahoo, but we are search. So with regards to that, with Bing and Yahoo, we have majority of the share. And looking at internet penetration, earlier on we shared that it's about 14 million internet users, and that is growing from 21%, as compared to, I believe, 14% a few years back. So it has grown leaps and bounds. And looking at mobile penetration, I believe a lot of telcos here can tell me whether that's correct or not, but it's 80% and larger. And that is also a very important aspect to go after, because the consumers are using mobile. That's the digital lifestyle that we're talking about. Everyone here has a mobile phone, right? Who has a smartphone? Okay, good. Close to half or more. Others are shy, right? We're getting warmed up here. So let's look at telecommunications insights for Thailand specifically. So the rationale behind this research that was commissioned in May and June this year was really to understand primarily your consumers, how they come about knowing of a brand or product or a service, their thought process, their decision making. You yourself are a consumer for telecommunications. You do buy handsets, you sign on with service plans, you upgrade or have a new broadband internet connectivity, and even fixed line, either for home or for office. So looking at all these categories, we want to know from the diverse product and services you as a client have, as a marketer, Do you really know your consumers? How you connect with them at each step of the way? So let's look at the global view first. So I'll be going through the global trends again and then deep diving into the research for Thailand. So looking at that, mobile phones, including smartphones. So mobile phones alone has doubled since the last 3 years and is projected to grow even more. Smartphones, in fact, will be growing at a 22% growth towards next year. This is global sales units. But looking at Thailand, there have been research recently announced that Thailand has already grown 3 times the smartphone from 3.5% to now 10.3% this year alone. That's huge growth, 3 times in 1 year. And we're looking at the smartphone growth to be double, triple in the coming years. So let's look at number of units globally. Mobile devices, including smartphones, 2.5 billion in the world. Some of us has more than 2 phones, right? And looking at PCs, actually has reached 1 million. So 1 billion units, sorry. So with regards to that, the mobile device is really important. And looking at applications, it's abound, isn't it? No longer phones are just used for calling. It's used for emailing, checking emails, mobile camera, frankly, or even for some of you who like to be connected via Facebook, high five, get online. So that means that the mobile internet connection and accessibility has also grown tremendously through the years. And it will continue to happen, especially with 3G coming, right? I mean, you're in data testing right now. And also looking at data packages from the mobile operators, it will become very competitive. And we are looking at also smartphones. Prices also will become very competitive. So with that, so many choices. Do you want to get a mobile phone, cable, dial-up, broadband, what sort of reliability, connectivity, even cable television, right? Which choices, what programs, so many choices. So for a consumer, they're buying everything and researching a lot. So how do we then connect you to them? So there lies the research that was done in May this year, and more than 1,000 were actually surveyed online. And the main purpose of it was to find out their purchasing process, so you can actually reach out and connect with them every step of the way. 7 in 10 are your consumers. The premise of this research and the question why 7 out of 10 are your consumers is because these have bought a product or service in the last 12 months. So in the past year, if you have purchased either a handset, signed on in terms of a contract, if you have broadband internet agreement as well, or fixed line, as long as you've purchased one of these products or services, you're a consumer. So 7 out of 10 are your consumers. Highest is actually mobile handsets at 81%, followed by broadband internet, 47%, followed by service plan as well as fixed line. And looking at these consumers, where do they begin researching? How they research? Did they buy online, offline? So let's look at it. 87% of them researched online, 72% offline. But when I say this, they also have research online and offline, vice versa. But as a subset, because we are not saying that people who do online research are totally tuned off to TV, radio, print. No, that's not possible, right? There's a lot of media consumption on a daily basis. But the subset is 88%, very huge. They actually research online as well as offline. But from this research, what is the action? The actual purchase behavior was a little bit online. A lot of reasons, frankly. I guess a lot of websites may not be e-commerce ready. Either that you don't even have a website for e-commerce. And if you do, maybe you're just starting up. It's not that savvy, perhaps. But a lot of people do buy in stores. So the main key point here is whether or not your consumers research online or offline, majority buys offline. But then look at it on the other way. Whether or not they are savvy shoppers. Savvy here just means that they're heavy internet users. They know specifically what they want. They also spend a lot of time even inexperienced shoppers, those who, let's say, are easily swayable, influenced, they also research online. If you look at the hours spent and the online resources used, they spend a lot of hours online, and they also go online. So this in itself, whether or not you feel that maybe female shoppers are not that tech savvy, you may be wrong. They're also online and they're spending a lot of time. So now let's look at the specific process of what did they buy, how they buy, and what did they buy. So let's look at the brands considered versus the brand purchased. Interestingly, with the smartphone increase, I mean it's 17% throughout this year, actual purchase, we look at Nokia is still leading the pack. Again, choices are abound for your consumers. So what is out there, information, if they're seeking it, if you're there, it will be part of their consideration. If you're not, you potentially have lost a consumer. And we're looking at service providers. Well, there's 3 major ones. Considered as well as purchase, it could be retaining customers, which is very difficult and also important, as well as acquiring new customers. And here, from the research, sorry, am I blocking all of you? I'll step aside. I am blocking, aren't I? Is this good? Okay. So with regards to DTAC came out tops in terms of customer acquisition. So looking across internet service provider, there's a lot more choices. So with that, in fact, I'll move on to this side. With a lot more choices, you can see that it's fair game. So whoever comes up with a better package, more reliable, better connectivity perhaps, these are the few things that consumers are looking at when it comes to either signing on with the internet service provider or upgrading. Even dial-ups, 1/3 of them has actually purchased in the last 12 months, dial-ups, and different sort of service providers are being considered an actual purchase. So this is some of the categories I want to share with you. And looking at how they research then, they have, yes, considered, they have purchased. Now let's go from basics. For online, as well as in-person, which means in-store purchases, this already amounts to 76%. So where was the first source of research seeking information? 88% went online first. This is not about using internet throughout the purchase cycle, but where did you go to find information first? 88% went online first, followed by, in terms of other media consumption. So that's quite a huge impact. So if you look at time spent, not much. If you look at up to 2 weeks before deciding to purchase or sign on a plan, that's actually very quick, 20 hours tops, and sign on with ABC. Pretty huge. But if you look at, in terms of research online, it's a huge percentage, yeah, close to 93%. All they do is 3-point-something websites, and they go in terms of 5-point-something search, and they make a decision. How quick is that? And these items are not very cheap, right? Especially for smartphones or signing on 2-year plan. It's actually a very quick decision, don't you think? And in terms of in-store, people like to touch, feel, see. To recap earlier on, people research online, but they purchase offline in stores. So at the end of the consideration, they do go in stores. Maybe they'd like to talk to in-store personnel, service centers, to get the final, okay, affirmation, this is correct, I will sign with you, this is nice, touch, feel, and see, yes, I'll buy this handset, going along with the mobile service plan. So in-store, this happens. So, of course, for the retailers, this is very important because customer service, product knowledge, all that will be at your storefront, right? And looking at each step of the online, what did they use? From awareness right down to final decision. Each step of the way, they use the internet highest in terms of getting information and consideration up to actual purchase. Like I said, it's not standalone. I'm not saying the internet is 100% all that they do and research, but there are other traditional media in-store, promotions, etc. But what came out tops is still internet at each step of the way. So a lot of marketers, if you focus only on the end goal of purchase and bypassing or forgetting or not, let's say, investing in the awareness and consideration phase, by the time you're only targeting price promotion, you may have already lost out because consumers may have considered other brands who have given them more information at the awareness and consideration phase. So each step of the way is actually important because people, consumers are sophisticated. They find out stuff and they kind of probably may switch or get convinced otherwise. So it's very important to be present at every step. So influence of the internet. We have seen huge majority, each step of the way, they use internet. So now I want to highlight, because we're not standalone media, whatever happens somewhere else, the effect is felt somewhere else. That's what we call butterfly effect. And what's the correlation between offline and online is vastly, vastly important. Because research have shown that as a consumer see or hear or read about an item offline with traditional media, it results in an online search or going online and finding out for more information. And by a research, actually 39% resulted in an action. It could be a purchase. It could result in in-store purchase even, not just online. It could even result in data entry. Perhaps you're gathering information. So it's an action that you want from your consumers. So it's very important to sync up messages offline and online. Because rest assured, your consumers are savvy. They hear, see something. They go online. They research about a product or service. And here, the results have shown that, first and foremost, they do compare about prices. They read about reviews. Especially for telecommunication products, consumer electronic products, it's all about reviews. Because you know a brand that you want to buy, the product, but how is it in comparison? Because it's highly competitive. So handsets, so many different brands, so many different models. Even within one brand, there's multiple products, right? Multiple models that one wants to check and find out before they decide. So everything is actually found online. And looking at search engine, how do we play a role in this? Huge role, actually. 97% go online and use a search engine to get them to other sites. This is not a market share of Thailand. It just shows that as a consumer, they may use more than one search engine. Sometimes you go Yahoo, Google, now Bing, all's fair. But 94% prefers Google as the primary gateway to get them to other sites. So from a search engine, where do they go? Some of these sites are where they will go for telecommunication products. So reviews, like I mentioned, manufacturer sites, very, very important. So get the website all up and ready. And with the latest products and services, in terms of social networking sites as well, they go there because they want to read about peer reviews, perhaps. And they look at also store websites, retailers, the likes of eBay and everything in terms of buying online. Maybe a product is not available here yet. They want to buy it, be the first. So a lot of different things they seek for. So let's look at specific process now. We talked about a lot on the funnel, right? Then at each step, what do they actually search for using a search engine? So the funnel from awareness to consideration to purchase, brands come out tops. We already know they search online, they go use a search engine, but then at each step of the way, brands came out very high in terms of searching. General terms, so these will be like, for example, highest, best connectivity for broadband, maybe latest mobile phones. These are general terms. Offers, of course, cheapest, best, things like that. Comparison between A and B, brands, offers, product type, and final decision will be offers. So once they find out, okay, which brand, which model, which service they now have set their eyes on, how much does it cost? And then purchase. So this will be the order, and on average, 7 searches. Again, very few. You would think that, oh, they search whole day long and all that. No, quick decisions, as I mentioned, in time spent. So let's recap the telco bit now. Last but not least, this was one question posted which I found interesting. In the next 6 months, would you be buying one of these 4 categories? And a lot will be buying handsets, 55% on broadband and mobile service plan. So if this was done in June, which means now is the time to act, isn't it? But where would they be researching first? Online. Again, as the main source, first source of research across all. So to recap, 7 in 10 are your consumers. Internet is vital. It's no longer, should I go online? Maybe not. It is like you have to go online because your consumers are there. 9 in 10 use the internet. If you like, or Google search is definitely the preferred gateway. And looking at 3 in 4 products are bought in stores as a result of online research. That's very important, right? So at this point, Pontip will help me to summarize in Thai. I hope I've not gone too fast. And then I'll go into the next piece of research.
Irene ไงค่ะ Irene ไม่ได้พูดเร็วคงไม่ได้สรุปมากนะคะจริงๆแล้วสไลด์ที่ Irene พูดผ่านมาค่ะตอนแรกก็จะให้ข้อมูลของ global ก่อนถูกไหมคะว่าในส่วนของ industry เกี่ยวกับเรื่องของ telecommunication เป็นยังไงแล้วก็คนใช้อินเทอร์เน็ตเป็นยังไงบ้างนะคะส่วนที่2ก็จะมาลงลึกเลยว่าในส่วนของคนที่เป็นผู้บริโภคเนี่ยเขาเสิร์ชเขาค้นหาค่ะเขาไปซื้อยังไงตัวเลขหลักๆก็คือจะเป็น10คนที่เราไปเซอร์เวย์เนี่ยค่ะปรากฏว่า7คนบอกว่าซื้อนะคะทีนี้เนี่ยเวลาเขาไปซื้อก่อนที่เขาไปซื้อเขาทำอะไรก่อนปรากฏว่ามันมี2ทางค่ะที่เขาไปศึกษาก่อนนะคะไปเรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับ Product ทางแรกคือออนไลน์ค่ะประมาณ 90% เลยนะคะอีกทางหนึ่งไปศึกษาออฟไลน์อาจจะไปที่ร้านไปเคาน์เตอร์เราก็ตรงนั้นจะน้อยกว่านะคะก็อาจจะอยู่ที่ประมาณ 60-70%แต่ท้ายที่สุดแล้วค่ะปรากฏว่าคนที่อยู่ทางเนี้ยทางออนไลน์ค่ะกลับมาซื้อที่ร้านที่เป็นออฟไลน์ซึ่งก็ 90% เกือบ 90% เหมือนกัน up to ประมาณ 89-90% ตรงนั้นคือค่อนข้างจะแตกต่างใช่ไหมคะแทนที่จะมาศึกษาออฟไลน์แล้วก็มาซื้อเลยแต่กลับน้อยแต่กลายเป็นว่าเวลาคิดจะซื้อสินค้าเนี่ยค่ะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องไม่ว่าจะเป็น mobile service plan หรือว่า broadband หรือว่า handset ต่างๆเนี่ยสิ่งแรกที่เขาจะไปเนี่ยค่ะเขากลับไปที่อินเทอร์เน็ตนะคะทีนี้ก่อนที่ไปอินเทอร์เน็ตนะคะมันมีสิ่งที่ไปกระตุ้นเขาก่อนด้วยนะคะรีเสิร์ชมีภาพหนึ่งที่บอกว่าประมาณเกือบ 34% เลยค่ะเกือบ 40% นะคะ 34-40% เนี่ยปรากฏว่าคนเห็นสื่อออฟไลน์ก่อนคือเราก็โฆษณามีเดียต่างๆที่เป็นออฟไลน์เราไม่ว่าจะเป็นทีวีแมกกาซีนต่างๆเนี่ยค่ะอยู่ที่ประมาณเกือบ 40% เนี่ยพอฟังปุ๊บสนใจค่ะเริ่มไปรีเสิร์ชออนไลน์นะคะรีเสิร์ชออนไลน์ไปทำอะไรบ้างนะคะก็จะมีสไลด์ที่พูดถึงไปดูบล็อกไปดูซิว่าคนพูดเกี่ยวกับเรื่องอะไรนะคะซึ่งมันจะมีอยู่3สเต็ปที่ให้ดูก็ตั้งแต่ศึกษาข้อมูลทั่วไปเลยที่เป็น general ทั่วไปนะคะจนกระทั่งรู้ละว่าจะซื้ออะไรก็มาเปรียบเทียบค่ะมา compare เนี่ยไม่ว่าจะเป็นทั้งราคาแล้วก็ไปดูซิว่าผู้ใช้คนอื่นๆเนี่ยเขาใช้เป็นอย่างไรบ้างใช่ไหมคะก็ยกตัวอย่างเช่นอาจจะเป็น power user คนอื่นๆหรือ influencer ก็อ่านบล็อกนะคะเข้าเรื่องของโซเชียลมีเดียต่างๆไปอ่านพอสนใจสุดท้ายกระบวนการคือไปตัดสินใจซื้อนี่คือกระบวนการทั้งหมดนะคะที่เขาไปซื้อปรากฏว่าเขาก็ไปดูอีกว่าตอนที่ศึกษาเนี่ยค่ะนอกเหนือจากที่ไปดูไปตอนที่ไปดูไปอ่านบล็อกต่างๆแล้วเนี่ยมีการทำกิจกรรมอื่นอีกไหมนะคะโดยเฉพาะเรื่องของ Search ใช่ไหมคะก็ปรากฏว่าเขาบอกว่าพอ 97% เนี่ยคนบอกว่าเริ่มต้นอันดับแรกก็ไป Search ก่อนทีนี้ก็ไปดูบอกว่าใครล่ะที่เขาเสิร์ชนะคะจริงๆก็จะมี3เจ้าใหญ่ๆในเมืองไทยปรากฏว่าก็จะไปเสิร์ชที่ Google อยู่ที่ประมาณ 94% นะคะซึ่งจริงๆแล้วก็จะตรงกับตอนแรกที่เราบอกว่าในส่วนของคนใช้ Google ในการค้นหาในประเทศไทยภาพรวมทั้งหมดนะคะคืออยู่ที่ประมาณ 98% แต่ถ้าเรามาดูเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของเทเลคอมโดยเฉพาะเนี่ยจะไปอยู่ที่ 94% นะคะอันนั้นก็จะเป็นภาพสรุปของในส่วนของเทเลคอมนะคะเดี๋ยวไอรินจะสรุปเข้าไปสู่อีกเรื่องหนึ่งนะคะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของ consumer electronic เชิญค่ะ
Thank you. Not that I understood a word of that, but it sounds beautiful. So, without further ado, I would go through a shorter deck and just want to highlight that this research had a lot of detailed information, but because in terms of the crowd and the audience and the time, we have a lot to cover. So just want to highlight that don't worry, you will have access to all the information after the event. And if those who want to see a very detailed in terms of information, do approach the Google team so that we can come back and do a one-on-one session with the clients or the agencies. Okay, so second piece of that, we want to share the digital lifestyle consumer. What does digital lifestyle mean? It basically is anyone who has a digital equipment. And I would safely assume everyone in this room has one piece, which is the handphone, a smartphone, even a computer. So all of us are digital consumers. And let's look at the rundown for the day. This second piece of research actually covers, again, the Thai consumers, the process behind buying a product from one of the consumer electronics categories, which I'll highlight in a bit, and the influence of internet, as well as the role of search engine. And one important fact, again, is the ad effectiveness. Yeah, to make sure that where your investment will reap the returns, where you advertise your brands and services. So let's look at the consumer. The research was done again this year, and with a fair share of representation, and look at how they actually purchase from the time they think of buying, let's say, a camera, a notebook, handset, or even just buying movie tickets, yeah, or a song to download. So all this, we've actually created what we evaluate 5 steps. I'm not saying that every single purchase is linear fashion. That means in this order. It can be very convoluted. It can go from being interested to compare prices and going back and research for other brands and products. So it is a convoluted, confusing way of looking at it, but by and large, when you're aware of something, you want to buy something into comparing brands, products, specifications to purchase, this will be the fashion that any consumer will take. So let's look at how many percent have bought. So 75% have purchased an item in one of these 3 categories, which is the consumer electronics, as well as computer gaming and entertainment. So this is in the last 6 months. It is a shorter shelf span of time because, again, in telecommunications product, if you sign on, it's actually a 2-year contract, right? Be it broadband or be it a handset mobile service plan. But consumer electronics is faster paced, well, in a way. So last 6 months. And the demographic actually shows that not all are male skewed for IT products. Slightly more, 54%, but hey, 46% are female, right? So they're educated, they're affluent, they have the disposable income. So these are your consumers. And looking at the products by the categories, so in terms of how many percent has bought, 63% bought at least one of these items in the last 6 months. In terms of computer or gaming, as well as entertainment, higher percentage on entertainment because it's a smaller ticket item. We're talking about downloading songs, we are downloading from, let's say, iTunes, Amazon, buying a book, buying movie tickets. That's fast, right? That's cheap. So a lot more have purchased that. But again, without any surprise, majority purchase in store. So, and looking at buying in stores, how then led them to buy something in store? Brands considered and brands purchased. For most of you, if you're coming from the different brands here, you'll be happy to see those who are considered and those who are purchased. We are categorizing by consumer electronics, right? So this is the audio, visual, handsets, all fall under this brand. From TV all the way through, brands considered majority would be those that bought. And looking at computer or gaming, quite similar. Laptop is slightly different. But again, you're happy to know that those who have considered who has purchased your brand. But looking at then, how do they research again? Quite similar to telecommunications product, but again, it's a faster turnaround. 84% use online, and across all, 80% has used the internet as a main source of information seeking. So looking at where, 27% share of influence. So the highest influence came from the internet, followed by peer reviews, friends, family. Do you realize that promotions, price is not at the most influence portion? It's not all about price. So if a computer or a camera costs more, it doesn't matter because maybe it's more reliable, it's maybe a better brand, so it's not all about price. So looking at time spent, in fact, it's more than double. Internet spend is higher than any other influence of other media, including friends, families, and colleagues. An average about 5-point-something hours for the main products. And entertainment, because it's a lower price ticket item, so faster time, 2.8 hours, you make a decision, make a purchase, right? This, I'll spend some time. It's a lot going on, so let me highlight. Remember, we went through the 5 evaluation process, from being aware to evaluating, comparing, consideration, down to purchase. These different color-coded lines are the different media. So the top blue line is internet. So let's look at this first section, become interested. So you as a consumer who have become interested to buy one of the products in the consumer electronics, gaming or entertainment products, where do you become interested and where did you go and find the source from? Internet came up tops, print, newspaper and magazines second, followed by TV and in-store promotion. Last but not least, outdoor and then radio. But as you go through evaluation and comparing prices, it still came up tops. But what is interesting here, in-store promotion becomes higher than print, than TV, radio, etc. all the way through to making a final decision on where to buy. So at each step of the way, these are the different source of information that affects them to being aware to the point of purchase. I would actually, when I saw this, I thought that TV would be the top in becoming aware first, because it's for branding has always been, all of us had the mindset of that. But interestingly, today for the digital consumer, it's actually the internet. So if they go online, again, where do they find their source of information? They use search engine, they follow by product services. This is an order of importance and usage, followed down to shopping sites, etc. So internet came out tops, search engine came out tops. And after a few researchers have already seen and heard, search is at the core of every consumer, especially for IT technology product-based items. They go online, they use search. And for consumer electronics, 78% use the search engine. Again, they probably will use more than one search engine in Thailand, but 97% use Google as compared to the other search engines. And from there, these are the different sites they go to. Because I think most of us don't really type in www.xyz on the browser anymore. Either we're lazy or we just want to get to the right site. We go to a search engine and we even type that in to find where else you want to go. So that has become the core of consumer behavior. My last few slides, really? Good, I don't see anyone sleeping. So ad effectiveness. Yes, marketers have a hard choice of splitting budget. TV usually gets the highest share. I was from television sales, I know that, right? Even in Thailand, actually globally, everything goes to TV, first cut, then print, then other media. But today, again, we're concentrating on your IT consumers. The ad recall and the actions thereafter. So ad recall, let's go through that first. For the different major media, from internet, newspaper, print, magazine to TV and radio, what has the highest ad recall? Well, internet and print, quite a fair share. Again, when I saw this, I thought TV would have the highest ad recall. But I guess sometimes it's difficult for 30 seconds ad to just go by in a flash. And a lot of times I go on my loo break during commercial breaks. So in terms of internet then, fine. You're a consumer, you've seen, you've heard, you've read this ad. So what? As a marketer, you don't want to spend money just throwing ads at people, right? You want them to take an action, other than sales, of course, at the end. So what actions have prompted from an ad seen, heard, or self-searched? It is actually a few major points that we've picked out from the research. Motivate to see and feel, touch, feel, see the product in stores. Motivate to buy the product came out very high. Learn about new products, of course, internet is the source and place to find out more information. And even help learn about new stores. Interesting. Who knew that people want to seek out new stores? So that's one of the top 4 criteria for a consumer as well. So ad effectiveness is not just about recalling an ad. It's really the actions and engagement that they take after that. Not necessarily just to make a purchase, but it could be if you're doing a database collection of loyalty programs and things like that, that's an action taken. But the top 4 came out to be these. And again, internet was the highest motivator to drive them to do these actions. So I'm concluding here. 84% go online. Huge, isn't it? 4 out of 5, basically, of your consumers go online. And 78% use a search engine. 97% use Google. And looking at time spent, a lot more time is spent online than TV, print, other media. And definitely, even if they research online, they still buy offline. So that's the connection. They see something, hear something, read something, they go online, potentially to search for more information, make a decision, and majority buy offline. And how to make it work for you? 3 top so-called recommendations. As a consumer, I do want an online experience. Again, online is not about just showing me ads. It's not about just one click away. I want to feel a whole experience, and I want to see that your offline message gels with the online message, right? And having that experience online, and again, it'll be very viral. I'm telling my friends about it and what have you. So offline and online, this connection is going to be very important. But I think it's difficult, economic downturn and what have you, but we can show the cost effectiveness and the returns by engagement, ad recall, and all that. So with regards to brand advertising and search online, it's not just about the end sale. It is from start, from awareness. It's for branding as well. And it's for consideration, influencing your consumers, switching their minds. My brand's better than yours, perhaps. Then you do other research, like critic reviews, shoppers reviews. They will do all this. So if your product is really that good, just be there. Otherwise, we have lost the opportunity to reach out to one of your potential consumers. It is not as difficult as it looks. The teams and agencies are here to kind of help you. So without further ado, thank you so much for your time. I hope I've not confused you, but enlightened you in terms of what your consumers are doing, searching, and buying online.